Good to be with you again. Yesterday we celebrated the feast of St. Helena, our parish patroness. So I'd like to talk about her. I think she's one of the most interesting and influential women in all of our Christian history. Some of you know me, I love my maps. So this is a map of the Roman Empire. That line indicates its greatest extent. And over here is Africa, Egypt. Here's Spain, France, and Italy, Greece, Turkey, the Holy Land. Most scholars agree today that St. Helena was probably born in the land that we today call Bithynia in Turkey. This area right across from Europe and the city that we now call Constantinople or Istanbul. She was born there about the year 250 and apparently attracted the attention of a rising young Roman soldier and general, Constantius. He married her and he had her one child, Constantine. In time, it was necessary for them to move over to this part of the Roman Empire, right along the Rhine River in Germany, the city of Trier, which was the capital for that area bordering all those barbarians outside the empire, the Germanic tribes. A few years ago, I happened to be in Trier on a tour, and the tour guide at one point mentioned that the archaeologists that year had discovered apparently the remains of the home of Helena and her son Constantine. We know that at one point, apparently Constantius, her husband, just abandoned her because he wanted to become the next Roman emperor. And some folks said to him that, well, she's so plain and ordinary, she isn't connected to the right families in Rome. They didn't have elections in those days. So Constantius went on and became the Roman emperor. And fortunately, Constantine took her and cared for his mother. In time, he too became interested in becoming the next Roman emperor. And so he took his armies down from that place in Trier, down into Italy, and fought a battle at the Milvian Bridge, conquering his rival and so becoming the next Roman emperor. At the time, it is said that he claimed to have a vision of the cross with the words, "In hoc signo vinces," by this sign you will conquer. And he had his soldiers put that cross on their helmets and on the shields as they went into battle with his rival. I often think the soldiers must have wondered what was going on, because the cross was a sign of defeat, disgrace, death. And now he's saying it's the sign of victory, of life and glory. So indeed, Constantine went on to Rome as the emperor, taking with him his mother. And I can just imagine Helena saying to her son, "Wouldn't it be nice if you would like to give me a gift for my birthday, to take one of those empty Roman basilicas and no pagans going to worship their gods there anymore? Why not give it to the Christians? Let them use it as a church. And why not build a nice church, a cathedral for the Bishop of Rome, Sylvester, that was on the Lateran lands, St. John the Lateran. And why not build a beautiful basilica on the site where St. Peter was crucified and buried on the Vatican Hill?" And that Basilica of Constantine lasted for over 1,000 years until it was replaced gradually by the present St. Peter's. And we know she used her influence to take food and other things to the poor of Rome. She reached out to all of them. It was in the year 312 that Helena had become a Christian, the very same year that Constantine became the emperor. And it was only 7 years after the last great persecution of Christians. So it was a dangerous time to be a Christian. Undoubtedly, Helena must have talked about her love of Jesus, her faith in him, her desire to share in his cross. Maybe that's why Constantine got that idea of the cross as a sign of victory. In the year 324, Constantine was able to defeat his rival in the east. He had held power over the western half of the empire, but now he was able to conquer the east also and have the whole empire under his domination. And so we're told that Helena then was able to get on a boat with her servants and assistants and travel over to the Holy Land. And she sent out her assistants to find groups of Christians, ask them, do you remember where it was that Jesus was born? Or where were the shepherds? Or where did Jesus suffer, die, and rise again? All the holy places she identified and built little chapels in each place. And to this day, when people go to the Holy Land and visit the shrines, they are all the places identified by St. Helena and her assistants back in 324. And yes, it is said that she even discovered the remains of the true cross, and it was identified by a miracle, someone who was cured by touching it. We know that Helena died in the year 330 because her image had been on coins, as that was the Roman custom of the time, and once a person died, the image no longer was put onto coins. So she apparently died in 330, about the age of 80. She had been about 60 when she became a Christian. We know that Constantine had even decided to move the capital of the Roman Empire from Rome, old Rome on the Tiber in Italy, over to Byzantium, a little town on this side of the waters, across from where Helena had been born in Bithynia. And it was there that he built the new Rome, what became known as Constantinople, and today it's called Istanbul. We know that St. Helena had a great influence on Christian history. It's often struck me that the cross was a sign of death, defeat, disgrace. Only the worst people, criminals, were crucified. No Roman citizen would ever be put to death by crucifixion. St. Peter was, but St. Paul was not. He was a Roman citizen, so he was simply beheaded. But with Constantine and Helena, yes, the cross becomes a sign of victory, of life, of glory. And so we celebrate in September, on the 14th, the exaltation of the Holy Cross, the finding of that cross, the glorification of it. Yes, Helena taught all of us, embrace the cross of Jesus. It is the sign of our salvation. I thought it might be interesting for you to see a picture that one of our parishioners created some years ago, Ruth Bauer. It's actually the center of the rose stained glass window that is in our church on Philadelphia Pike, and shows St. Helena with the words, in hoc signo vinces, By this sign you will conquer. Of course, we also have another image of St. Helena over the side entrance on the rectory side of the church. And if you go to St. Peter's in Rome, or have ever been there, you know that that great dome of St. Peter's rests on 4 tremendous pillars. And at the base of each of those is one of the saints associated with the sufferings of Christ. So usually when people see the Pope and others in St. Peter's Basilica at the main altar, if you look a bit to the right, you see at the base of that great pillar a huge statue of St. Helena with the cross, probably about 3 times the size of a human being. Yes, Helena is honored there in a very special way. And so we're happy in our parish to bear the title of this great saint, this great woman of Christian history. She's taught us a lot. We too need to focus on the cross of Jesus in our own lives, embrace it, love it. It's the sign of victory, of glory, of life. Thank you again for letting me speak to you today.